Clearly the cowbells are obnoxious at practice.
Yeah, you know, honestly I like it. It kind of reminds me of high school football. So just get some juice going and preparing us for the game.
Did you get tired of it at all, or were you good with it the whole time?
The only time it bugged me was when they were doing it in the center's ear and he couldn't hear me do the cadence. So I got a little mad at that, but other than that, it was fun.
After more time to reflect on the first game, what did you think about that and how do you go from that?
Yeah, saw some good stuff. You know, some players making some plays. You know, Relief, JT and the guys, you know, being really explosive. So that was good to see. And then just going back, cleaning up a bunch of stuff. We got to play harder, more physical. That starts with being practice. So kind of went about it like that today, and I was happy with it.
Sam, statistically, you had a pretty good, darn good game. The coach said you're your hardest critic. Did you feel like you could have played better Saturday?
Yeah, I didn't feel like I played the best. You know, a lot of things I could have done better. Threw a really stupid pick. You know, that's not part of my game. The game was kind of over at that point, and I just threw it up, and it was just, I don't do stuff like that. But good stuff to learn from. I won't do that again.
You talked about the cowbell and having said that, how valuable is it to get off to a good start? I know you want to do that every day, especially on the road in hot conference like this.
Yeah, always good to do that on the road. You know, kind of quiet the crowd a little bit, get the team on their heels. You know, feel like once they're running and going fast, you know, then they're kind of playing well and playing to their speed and things like that. So kind of just taking the game into our hands and dominating it like that early on.
Let's talk about this kind of being a good situation where you got some mistakes you got to clean up, right? You got to work on, but after a win, you get to do that instead of you say, man, this is not a lot.
Yeah, always nice to do that after a win. You know, just makes the vibes higher in the building. You know, if you're hurt, it doesn't hurt as bad after a win, stuff like that. So always feel good.
What do you think the rest of the guys are?
I felt like it was good. You know, we understand what we did that was good and what we did that was bad, and kind of took that upon ourselves as a team. And you know, overall in the team meetings and as a unit, offensively and defensively, we kind of understand how we got to approach the week to you know, come out different this next week in terms of physicality and just the emotional stability of playing the game.
Is that just a sign of how high the bar has been raised, where people aren't really satisfied with a 19-point win for them to sell out crowd?
Yeah, for sure. Bar's definitely been raised. You know, it's a lot different than last year. You know, and it was tough last year going from, our last game was at the Peach Bowl to playing in that game, so it's hard to get the juices going to that level. But this week's going to be a good refresher.
How similar do you anticipate this being to the defense that you saw last year?
Yeah, really similar. You know, a lot of the same stuff. Kind of saw what they did against Silver Miss. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm not going to go into details here.
You talked about the center's cadence and how that was kind of difficult. Overall, was it tough to communicate with all that cowboy noise today?
Not too bad. They were just doing it like right next to his ear, so I was like, that's not realistic. You know?
Sam, yesterday, Manny was talking about how you guys want to get other wide receivers involved. You guys have this with the game. I kind of feel the same way where it's in that kind of situation. You just have to keep it.
Yeah, if cover zeros and one cover, then you got to give them the ball any way you can. So that's probably my main game plan right now.
If you think that's a mistake other teams are not going to make?
Say that again?
Is that going to be a mistake that other teams are not going to make?
To leave him one-on-one? I guess we're going to see come game time.
Has there been a little bit of extra excitement just kind of going on the road to face an SEC opponent, the chance for the program's first ever road SEC win, something like that?
Yeah, I didn't know. I guess last year was the first SEC win. Yeah, I don't know if it's necessarily viewed like that. I kind of like to view every single week the same. I actually really like playing at away games. You know, it gives me a little bit more juice. So I'm excited. You know, I don't think the team viewing it like that. We kind of go about it the same every single week.